It's 4 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We're really excited about TransIT 7, and our current plan is to go live at close of business on Thursday of this week. There's no current test rounds in action, and so it makes sense to go live while that's the case. Right now, you'll see I'm signed on, and I'm actually signed on as a tester. So because I'm signed on as a tester, I have very few items in my menu. I have home, I have plans, I have testing, and I have issues. Now, when you're a user, to get to your user settings, you click your initial icon here and it'll bring up your settings. This is where sign out is. This is where you can change your password. If you want to set up a different email address than your username, you can put it in here to get your emails to. If you want to put in your phone number for texting, this is where you put it in, and then you can turn on texting by clicking this box, turn on email by this box, and then you would just click save here. This tells you whether or not you are wanting to get emails or texts for test round. The one for plans isn't showing yet. That will be showing. Martin, you have a question?
Yes, I'm having trouble logging in. I don't see where I got a password or where my password's changed.
It should be the same password as you currently have in production.
I think I need to get it reset then.
Okay, so you're talking about for getting into the demo domain?
Yes, demo.makesolutionsinc.com, correct?
Yep. So is someone, Travis, are you on? Can you quickly reset Martin? You're from Covenant, right?
That is correct.
Yep.
You bet.
So,
I'll reset it for Martin.
For Covenant. Thank you very much. And then you can just put in the chat what you reset it to. Yeah, if anybody else, I didn't do that and I should. If anybody doesn't have the link, I'll go ahead and put it in the chat now. And you're welcome to sign on and play around. What you'll see in here is exactly what your data is going to look like going Thursday forward. So we've done several mock conversions and we're pretty confident that all of the data is there. So feel free to play around. If you play around with test scripts, remember that it's going to go away and you're going to have to do it again in production when we go live. But absolutely go ahead. So what I was going to show you here, because I'm signed on as a tester, so like I'm pretty sure none of you are testers, but if I go to the home here, you'll see that when you sign on, it gives you information about yourself. So as a tester, it tells you, okay, this is a test round that's active and I'm not selected for any positions in it. So I have no scripts due up today. If I click here, it'll take me to the new place where you set your positions in a test round, which is the roster. So you don't do this in your user record anymore. So if I go down and I say, okay, this person who is the tester, if I say that they're going to be this. I think this is who I'm signed on as, that they're the reg clerk, and then I go back to the home, you'll see that, okay, I have 88 steps left for today, and I'm in the tonsil scenario and it's due up in 17 steps, and I can actually go right to the scenario from here. So this is all I was going to show you in this tester position role, is that everybody has the ability to add themselves to the roster now, and it's not in your user settings. So if I go ahead and sign off, and again, to sign off, you click your initial icon, you click sign off. And if I go in as a regular user now, then you see, it's the same basic view here. The admins have an extra box which lets them know who from your organization is signed on. So the menu items have been reorganized. And this is where the major part of our changes are for TransIT 7. So it was always hard for us to describe what our workflows were, because our workflows in TransIT were actually pieces of workflows. So we didn't really suggest that you take a whole workflow that had multiple swim lanes and various different decision boxes and build that as a workflow. We actually suggested that you build out each of the pieces, so by position. And so we've renamed them and they're now called modules. So what you'll find in Transit 7 is that all of your workflows came across, and they came across into this module section. Before in Transit 6, it would only show you 100 at a time, and you had to go set your page size all the time to get to what you were looking for. You no longer need to do that. The performance of Transit 7 was completely rewritten, much newer technology, and so it's reasonable to bring up, hundreds or thousands and have it be fairly quick. So if you were somebody who used to always page size all, you don't have to do that anymore. So the modules page looks similar to what the workflow page looked like, except we used to have the number of times that it was in a script used to be over on the left-hand side, and it's now in the center of the screen. So you can very easily see your workflows that have been used in a test script versus those that haven't been used in a test script. If you want to go to the list of test scripts that has this module in it, you click here and it brings you up that list, the filtered list that has that module in it. So that's slightly different than it was in Transit 6. When we go inside the modules, so let's pick anyone, then it looks pretty much the same as it always did. You've got your position, application, action, and outcome. If you uploaded content and you have ones that don't have outcomes, they're still not going to have outcomes. You have the ability to multi-select and change your position. So this I'm going to say, was it rad tech? And so by multi-changing, it changes it, and then they're available immediately. The one thing that's different is to edit a step, you just double click and it brings it up like this. If you wanted to add in one of our detail fields, that's slightly different now. So if I just go to this new row here, if I wanted to bring up one of the detail fields, all I have to do is put in a square bracket, and it's going to bring up the whole list of detail fields that are available. If you didn't remember exactly what it was, but you knew it had name in it, you can, it's a contain search, so you can type in name and it'll bring up all the fields with name in it. And then you can just select it off that list. And so this works the way these detail fields always did, which is that by pulling that into the test script, you can put the information in the header and then it automatically pulls in. So this is a significant benefit here. In the admin class, we talked about the fact that the admins now have the ability to build out your own detail fields. So if there was something you wanted that wasn't there, if you look here and you wanted something specific and it's nowhere in the list, then you can ask your admin to add that field. The one thing that we suggest, though, is if it's something that you think is something that other clients are going to want, then you might reach out to us and we might decide together what you want to call it, because when we build content and share it with you, these field names need to match or our content isn't going to make sense to you. So again, this is, significantly different. Before it used to be over here, and I don't even know if people knew it was there, that you could search for the header fields there, but now it's been improved because it's right in the text. All you do is put the square bracket and it comes up and it's a contains. So again, if I wanted to see everything with first in it, then I can just type first and it brings up everything with first in it. Nothing else too much is different inside of here. Again, these are what used to be called workflows, have now been transferred over and are now called modules. Moving on then, the next area is scripts. So what used to be called scenarios is now called scripts. All of your scenarios that are active and all of your admins have been asked to go and look through and make sure that any scripts that they want to come across are in an active status. And so we've given everybody to Thursday to do that. So in this case, the this question there, Martin?
Sorry.
Okay, so in this case, this column now tells you what kind of a script it is. So we have scenario-based scripts for integration testing, user acceptance testing, and functional scripts for system or regression testing or basic application functionality testing. So if it's functional, it'll have this icon. And if it's a process-based or scenario-based, it'll be this icon. And you can filter using those things. To get to the header, you just click this icon here, and you see this has nothing in it. I did forget something in the admin class. So in the user settings, your admins will be able to pre-build the header. So if you have the same fields that you bring up in the header all of the time, instead of you having to add them, the admins will be able to add them under user settings. So I'll have to remember to say that the next two classes. But at any rate, so if you've got if you're doing scenarios that have multiple appointments in them, you can bring those fields into your header. So if I want to, if it's not in my defaults and I want to add things, then I go here, I click select details, I click this drop down box here, and then I can select all of the things that I want to be as a default in my test script. And, you know, I probably want the MRN, I probably want the FIN, I probably don't care about passport, you know, whatever things that I want, I can bring in. Oh, maybe I don't need both those. You know, whatever fields it is you want to bring in. So significantly easier than before to build out your header. And then what's actually pretty cool as well is in TransIT 6, if you had multiple appointments in a test round, sorry, in a test script, they would be listed based on the sequence number, which was the appointment types would all be together, and then the locations would all be together, etc. So it made it harder to read. So now what you'll do instead is if you want to add in another appointment, you'll highlight the fields for appointment, right click, and say increment and add below. And when you do that, it then sets up your appointment too, and so on. And the same can be true for visit fields that you want to pull in together. So much more user friendly. And then if you want to edit the value, you just go in and put and then that's the information that's going to pull into the scripts when you get them written. So this functionality is much better than what it was before. This sequence column is for choosing what shows on the testing dashboard. So if what I want to show on the test dashboard is the patient name, then I can put a sequence 1 there. If I also want the MRN to show and I want it to show next, I can put a 2 there, and I want the FIN, I can put a 3 there. Then anytime when I bring this test script into a test round, it's going to automatically pull in the patient name, the MRN, and the FIN to the header as those exist. So again, much better functionality around the header of the scripts. So now scripts in general are significantly different than they were. What we're trying to do is bring in functionality to TransIT that makes it easier to create test scripts. And so some of that is going to change drastically, not with the first release, but hopefully in the first quarter of next year, where we're going to add back in a workflows item. And the workflows item will be where you document an entire workflow, and then it suggests the test scripts out for you. So it won't be the details steps like we have in modules or we have in the scripts, but it'll be more like your diagrams that you do in Lucidchart or in Visio or in Workflow Designer or in whatever other tool you're using. We plan to bring that functionality into TransIT as well and have it then suggest the scripts that you need to build based on those workflows. Not there yet, but that's what we're hoping for. So now if I want to create a test script now, I'm going to click this add script icon. You're no longer able to assign numbers yourself. They're going to automatically assign. And so I'm going to say that this is car accident. And in this case, it's going to be a scenario test script. And so it's going to prompt me for what days. And I can put an objective down here. Or whatever I want. And then I'm going to click next module. And sorry, the next button. And when I get here, this is where I start pulling in the workflows. If I don't know a workflow or workflow isn't built yet, I can type in text here and it'll pull in. But in the meantime, I just start typing across here. So I say that it's for day 1, and I'm going to pick Ross Country Medical Center. And in this case, if I don't know whether my workflow has a position selected or not, I can select it here. And if this is going to be quick reg and I don't know what the workflow is for the quick reg, I can just type in quick reg. So this is ED new patient. Here, if it says global, it means it's from our global content. If it doesn't, it means it's from your content. So I'm going to say that this is a new patient. I'll take that workflow in. And then this is still going to be on day 1, and it's still cross country. And this is now the EDRN is going to do a triage maybe. And then because the triage is completed, the reg clerk is going to go ahead and they're going to modify the visit, maybe type in the word complete. Oops. So we're going to complete the ED quick reg for the new patient that was generated, and so on. So you're going to bring in modules by this box using a contain search. And when you get your modules all entered, you're then going to click this generate test script. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull everything in, and it's going to pull in your numbers here. It's the same if you want to upload a test script that you already have in Excel. You'll see here, sorry, I'll get back to that in a second. See here that it's saying the test name. If I then go to the header and fill in the test name, the patient name, I mean, and go back to my test script, let's see where it went. Oh, there it is. I wasn't far enough down. Okay, so now when you put it in, you don't have to turn on and turn off the header values. They just are automatically there. And so if something is showing that is a header field and it doesn't have a value, then it'll just show that name in brackets. So it makes it much easier to go in and fill in your header details. Okay, so then I was going to say the next thing that's available as well is the ability to upload a script from Excel. So if we were going to have a functional test script that we wanted to add, we would do the same thing. We would go here and we would say, we'd say it's a functional script, and we'd click save. It takes us inside, and then we right click and we use the import from Excel. We go to our hard drive and we find that test script. Oops. Oh, I thought I had one. Let me cancel out here and do that again. Oh, there it is. I do have one. Okay, and so then when I click import, it then brings it in. So now one of the cool features in TransIT 7 is one of the things that was horrible about the import in TransIT 6 was that it created all those ZZZ task names. Tasks are gone, so we don't have any ZZZ names anymore. But when you pull in the content, what we do have is the ability to automatically generate the module name. So when I look here, it looks pretty much like this is my department order entry workflow. So if I highlight the rows there and right click and say create module, then what it's going to do is it's going to automatically go out and suggest a name. And you see it's a fairly legitimate name, order, comma, enter, rad tech, rad procedure. So, and then a description will automatically generate for you as well. So that was sort of, I think, over time, what people disliked about TransIT was the ZZZ transactions, figuring out how to name things. And we've taken that and made it much easier now. So TransIT's going to automatically suggest for you what the module name is. If you don't like it, you can go in and change it. If you don't like the description, you can go in and change it. But if you do like it, it's automatically generating it for you. You do also have the ability here to choose what project you want to put it in. In this case, we'll leave it in current state. So what this does, by saving this, it makes this a module that I can use in any other test script. So you're going to say, well, you know, some of these things are very specific to this test script. So I can go into that module and I can edit that module to turn some of these fields, for example, into header fields. Or I can just say, you know, I don't even really care about this. So in this case, I want to use this workflow exactly as it is, but it's not going to be a CT of the head and CT of the abdomen and head. So I can just take this in my script and edit it and put in whatever it is. And I haven't updated the workflow. I've just updated this test script. So before, when you were doing updates, you would get a warning message saying, you know, you're changing this task and it's going to update it in these other 20 test scripts. You don't get that anymore. Now I haven't touched my workflow. So if I go and look at this workflow is still that CT abdomen, but here I've updated it in this one test script. So what this does is it makes it much easier for you to create and maintain the test scripts. I'm going to stop and ask if anybody has any questions, because this is the part that's quite revolutionary. This was what held people back a lot. Does anybody have any questions on this?
Patty, I might have asked this before, but let me ask again because I don't remember. When it's suggesting a name for that workflow,
Yep.
it already knows if it has something similar and would just make it slightly different.
Yes, it should.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, it should is the answer. Yep. And like I said, you can change it to be whatever you like there as well. So if there's something about it that you didn't like, you could go in and change it. And so what you could do with your functional test scripts that you're building is use the upload to upload them, then go through and turn them all into the modules that you know you're going to reuse. Again, there's like the other multi-select. So if this wasn't the nurse and you wanted to change it to be somebody else, you wanted to change the position, you could go in and change the position, or you could change the facility. So I don't know, whoever you wanted to change it to. So there's a lot of the good functionality that was there, but we've taken away sort of what was hamstringing people before. And, you know, it's the same as always. If you upload something and you didn't have it as actions and outcomes, there was a lot of actions without outcomes, then it's not going to make it brilliant for you and fix that for you. But at least it's going to put it in a place where you can divide it into modules and go and fix those afterwards. So the next thing then beyond the modules and the scripts is test rounds, obviously. And there's quite a bit of difference in the test rounds now as well. So if I click inside this test script, then, you know, we've still got our multiple colors here to show you when the positions are changing, but everything is more face up. So before you could pass a step, and if you weren't going to pass it, you had to right click. Now the actions you use most often are face up. So you've got your pass, and then you've got your fail this step, and you've got skip. If you want to log a note, you've got the note icon. If you want to log an issue, you've got the issue icon. So everything pretty much is face up. So if there's something that I didn't like, you know, I wanted them to change the spelling in this. I can, you know, if it's just the spelling, I'm probably going to pass it, but instead, so I'll pass it and then I'll add a note. So when I add a note, I'm going to say, please put, oh, so what I didn't do in this area is I didn't preset my note type. What we recommend you do is you preset your note types to script. So normally this would automatically default because your admins will have your notes default to script change. And then if it's something different, you could change it. So please put a, you know, so whatever my note is, click save on the note and then the note shows there. And so if you have 5 notes, so before you didn't used to be able to put a whole bunch of notes to the same step, but you know, if there's a whole bunch of things wrong with this, then you know, you had to put it all into one. Now you can add as many notes as you want. You can also add as many issues as you want. So you know, if I wanted to also log an issue, I can right click and I can do an issue and I do log new issue and I say give it a category and it doesn't really matter what it is. And, you know, if this was really holding things up, I might say that this is high severity and the impact is medium or is limited. Oops. And I create that. It's fallen off the screen because it refreshed because I already passed the steps. So I probably should have failed the step. If you want to get back to the steps, it's still removing the remaining filter the same way as it was before. And you can see that we were down here, whoops, here, and here's the step that, so if I want to reset that, I can reset status, and this one I really should have failed. If I wanted to add looks like I didn't save my note, but my issue. If I want to, I can add an issue and we'll just put that issue in again. So now if we want to go and look at your issues, if you click the issue here, it takes you to your issue page. So right now it's not filtered to your specific test round you're on. You have the ability to go here and add in the columns of the test round and the project and the plan. And you can say, this is the new issue that I just logged. If I wanted to go in and look at that issue, I can look at it here. And this is where I can go in and fill in more information. One of the things that's really nice in TransIT 7 is the ability to add screenshots as well as attachments. So if I just do a screenshot and then paste it in here and click save, then it saves in your issue. So that's much better than having to save things as files and do attachments, and then open those attachments. We're right almost at time. Did anybody have any questions about anything that I've shown? I am going to do this session twice more, and we're going to save these videos. They'll be on our YouTube channel. And like I said, the planned go live date is Thursday after close of business. And so we certainly expect and want you to reach out to us with any questions you have. And that's always support@makesolutionsinc.com, or as most of you do, you can email any of us directly as well. Does anybody have any questions before we close it for today?
I was going to type it in the chat, but Patty, does the YouTube channel contain just general training for net new end users of TransIT as well?
We don't have any. we don't have anything like that on our YouTube channel, unfortunately. But, you know, we, you know, might get there sometime in the near future. The one thing I will say is it's much more intuitive than it was before, Beth. So I think you'll find when you use it, there's less things to explain. We don't have help feature turned on yet. That is in our list of things to add. But basically, like, we're not going to have a user manual that's 200 and whatever pages that nobody can ever get through anymore, because the idea is that things are supposed to be face up and easy to find. And if it's not face up, it should be available from a right click. So, you know, and we've taken away the things, like I said, that having to know to do page size all, you know, everything is much more face up.
Yes, I agree. I think ours, we've just had quite a bit of turnover in IT here at Covenant. So I think that would be a good thing to have, even if it's just a quick general overview type video, just so people are at least familiar with what the software is and how it's used.
You're not going to be surprised to hear that you're not the first person to suggest that. We will do that, like, especially as we roll out new features and functions, especially, like I said, we're aiming Q1 of next year to have the workflow functionality available. And that really will definitely change things substantially. It'll be the ability to take a Visio and scan it in and have it help create the content for you. It's not going to be the clicks in the system, but it is going to be the shell of your test script that you then know what it is you should go and test. So we're pretty excited about it, and we really appreciate, we appreciate everyone joining today. And if you have questions that you think of afterwards, you know, by all means, send them in to support@makeSolutionsInc.com. Feel free to join one of the other 2 sessions. If you haven't seen the plan sessions or the admin session yet, please join one of those as well. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.